Where are you going?
It's turkey time.
Huh?
Gobble, gobble.
What?
Not every Hollywood blockbuster makes it out alive. Some tank so hard they leave entire studios shaking their heads and their wallets. We're diving into the ultimate hall of shame. 10 of the biggest box office disasters that made audiences disappear faster than the movie's budget. And yeah, you'll definitely recognize a few. First up is Heaven's Gate, which took the term flop to new and dizzying heights. Directed by Michael Cimino, fresh off his Oscar-winning streak for The Deer Hunter, this Western epic aimed high but fell devastatingly short. The film was riddled with behind-the-scenes drama, budget overruns, and production delays. Critics were brutal, with the New York Times calling it an unqualified disaster, and the audience response wasn't much better. This calamity of a film is largely credited with sinking United Artists, the studio that backed it.
He can't bite you if you gotta hold his tongue.
I don't see that at all.
We'll try. Now bite him, Nick. See that? Bite him. Can't do a damn thing. Look at this, miss.
The name alone should give you a hint as to why this one makes the list. Starring Eddie Murphy as the titular Pluto Nash, a lunar nightclub owner, this film fell far from its star's former glory. Despite a budget of about $100 million, the film only managed to rake in a dismal $7.1 million worldwide. Its Rotten Tomatoes rating is an embarrassing 4%. Both audience and critical response were abysmal, and Murphy himself has often expressed regret about the film, making it a textbook case of a box office disaster.
So you got it all figured out, huh?
Mars Needs Moms was the animated film that taught us even extraterrestrials can't escape the trials and tribulations of parenting. This film had a staggering production budget of $150 million, but only managed to make back $39 million worldwide. The film was widely panned for its story and character design, resulting in a tepid 37% rating on Rotten Tomatoes. The creators of this movie probably wish they could have hopped on a spaceship and escaped to Mars themselves when they saw the box office returns. A romantic comedy that was neither romantic nor comedic. This movie starred Ben Affleck and Jennifer Lopez as a mobster and a lesbian assassin, respectively, who kidnap a mentally challenged young man. If that sounds like a hard sell, it's because it was. The movie received 6 Razzies and has a Rotten Tomatoes score of 6%. Even the lead stars, who were dating back then and enjoyed all the perks of Hollywood's power couple, couldn't escape the cringe factor of this monumental failure. Featuring Johnny Depp as a culturally appropriative Tonto, The Lone Ranger reeked of disaster from the start. The film's production was riddled with problems, including budget overruns, script rewrites, and delays. When it finally stumbled into theaters, the reaction was about as exciting as watching paint dry. Audiences and critics barely blinked. The movie had a budget of around $225 million, but only managed a global box office take of $260.5 million, resulting in a loss when you consider marketing costs. It sits at a meager 30% on Rotten Tomatoes, and the less said about Depp's interpretation of a Native American, the better.
Going somewhere?
Yes. No. No. Yes. No. Yes.
No, we are not.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
Shut up!
Yes.
Despite its grand ambitions, this sci-fi epic based on the classic Edgar Rice Burroughs novel landed with a thud heard around Hollywood. With a staggering budget of $263 million, John Carter only managed to pull in a global box office take of $284 million, falling far short when marketing costs were factored in. Critics were divided and audiences were generally unimpressed, resulting in a Rotten Tomatoes score of 52%. Its lackluster performance led to a significant write-down for Disney and the resignation of the studio chairman.
Virginia!
No. My name is John Carter. I'm from Virginia. Virginia.
This superhero flick turned super zero at the box office, despite featuring Halle Berry in the titular role. The film was universally panned for its poor script, direction, and CGI effects. It has a cringe-inducing Rotten Tomatoes score of 9% and holds the dubious honor of winning 4 Razzie Awards, including Worst Picture. Even Berry herself jokingly thanked Warner Brothers for putting her in a piece-of-shit god-awful movie during her Razzie acceptance speech. Gotta admire Halle for taking it on the chin.
Not on the first date.
Don't flatter yourself, lady. I'm taken.
Does she know about us?
There's no us.
Too bad.
This swashbuckling adventure proved to be anything but profitable. Directed by Rennie Harlan and starring Gina Davis, Cutthroat Island was a catastrophic failure that only managed to gross $10 million against a $98 million budget. In 1996, it was listed in the Guinness World Records as the biggest box office flop of all time. This debacle is reported to have caused the bankruptcy of Carolco Pictures, the production company behind the film.
You planning to fight me with that little stick?
No, Uncle. With
Bad dog.
47 Ronin is a visually stunning but narratively muddled film that marked Keanu Reeves' return to big-budget fare after a hiatus from the spotlight. Despite an impressive $175 million budget, it only managed to rake in $151 million worldwide, falling short when marketing costs were considered. Reeves' star power didn't help at all, apparently. After all the behind-the-scenes drama, including production delays and a spiraling budget, it's safe to say this was a film that just couldn't find its way.
Your life belongs to
Us. Then take it if you can.
This historical action film starring Antonio Banderas is infamous for being one of the biggest box office bombs in film history. Based on Michael Crichton's novel Eaters of the Dead, the film suffered from multiple re-edits and reshoots, and its release was delayed by a year. Despite its lavish production and a budget of $160 million, it only grossed $61.7 million worldwide. Critics were not kind either, with a Rotten Tomatoes score of 33%.
Goodbye, Arab!
goodbye.